so good.
Hi, everyone. I just thought this was the right time to actually provide you with an introduction to me, who I am, and why I'm actually doing this podcast. The first thing is that I loved the game of football since I was 10 years old. I remember sitting down in the family room watching football with my dad and hearing him calling out penalties before the flags flew. Thought that was a little weird. And I was like, huh? Well, how'd you know that? And he told me that when he was younger, he was a high school referee. So that stuck with him. So, and then he taught me how to look for penalties. So I'm like, oh, cool. All right. So I got to see football from a referee's perspective. Later in life, I had a friend who was a high school coach. And he loved the game of football so much. He taught me everything that could be about football. He was an offensive minded coach and would tell me a lot about plays and broke everything down for me in a way that I could understand it. And I loved it. I soaked up every single thing he would talk about. Then we started talking about each division, who's going to win each division, who's the better quarterback in each division, and why they are, and what makes a good quarterback. And it's always talking about the offensive line. I'm like, okay, it's like every head coach when they come in to a brand new team needs to solidify both sides of the field, meaning the offensive and defensive lines. It's like that's the first thing you have to do. Because if you can't keep your quarterback upright, you're not going to go anywhere. If your defense can't get to the quarterback, it'll make a long day for that defense. So those were the main takeaways initially that I took out of during our conversations. So we would go through every position. Who was the best? Who do you think is going to be coming up in the ranks? So it was a great thing. And found out that he in turn got a offensive coordinator position for a semi-pro team in Colorado. It's like, all right, that's cool. So I went to one of his practices. He told me the address of the practice. So I went down there, and the way that everything was brought in, the park, there was hills down, and at the very end there was the base where that's where you actually ended up practicing. So I would stay up on top of that hill on that first practice, just watching, soaking up everything that I could regarding football. And you looking at foot placements, looking at the drills that they were conducting, whether they were wide receiver drills, whether they're tackling drills. I would just soak in everything. When practice was done, I came down, didn't want to disturb my friend as he was coaching. And he was like, "Hey, you're here. Practice is over." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I saw it from the top, from the top, just looking down." He's like, "Why? Why didn't you just come down here?" I said, "I didn't want to intrude." It's like, "You're not." It's like, "We're practicing again at this time. Come." So I was there again. I met him at the parking lot. He's like, come on down. I'm like, are you sure about this? He's like, shut up and come on down. I'm like, okay. So I would actually just watch everybody practice. They were doing drills, they were doing 7-on-7s. It was just amazing, just soaking up everything. They were doing a tackling drill. My buddy was like, hey, can you actually watch them and making sure they're tackling correctly? I got to talk to somebody. I was like, okay. So here I am. I'm just ensuring that everybody's tackling waist high, not up, but just waist, but whatever. So here I am. I'm making sure they're tackling correctly. And after practice ended, I I'm waiting for my friend because I see him talking to a linebacker. I was like, okay, no worries. He's probably coaching him up. No worries. Well, apparently the coach was a player owner. So, and my friend said, Judd, come on down. I was like, oh, okay. So I got to meet this player owner. And he's like, hey, you want to be an intern coach? I'm like, sure, sure. I'm not going to pass that up. I was a little shocked and stunned initially, only because that was never my intention. I just wanted to support my friend. I just wanted to see football. I didn't care. But it happened, and I was like, yeah, the opportunity arose, so I took it. So I was at practice, and my friend was teaching me everything that he could regarding the practices and the types of drills that they were doing and why they were doing the drills and the way they were. So, intern, I was I was just loving it. And a couple of weeks went by. There was a coaches meeting. Like, all right, cool. So went to the coach. I'm like, I'm an intern coach. Yeah. I felt a little pride in becoming an intern coach. Why? I have no idea. Well, other than the fact that I loved football, and it was nice to say that I was a coach. In any case, we were at the coaches meeting, and they needed to find a, a special teams coordinator. They didn't have one. I was like, okay. So I'm looking around, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, huh? And they said, do you want to be the special teams coordinator? I'm like, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. And now I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I know I was just supposed to be an intern coach. I just was learning. But the best kind of learning is doing. So yeah, I went right in. I was like, okay, you know what? I understand. May not be the best, but yeah, let's do this. And I said, I have a question. I don't know much about special teams. Can somebody help me? And that's when they actually went and kind of drew up and kind of showed me what to work with kickoffs, with punt returns. I was like, okay, all right. So I'm soaking in everything up that I can. At the end of the night, that night, I was on the internet. I'm looking up different things because I am making sure that I am going to nail this correctly and making sure I know everything that there can be about special teams. So I have this down. And in the middle of this process, I find out that my friend and the owner had a falling out. So my friend left, which scared me because my lifeline left. I'm like, okay. Well, that's life. Let's do this. Because I didn't want to quit. because that's not who I am. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's take care of it. So the season had its ups and downs, very rocky at the beginning, but I kind of got the gist of it as the season moved on. The unfortunate part is that we did hit the playoffs, but there wasn't enough money to supply everybody to go to the playoffs because the playoffs were in a different state. So I didn't have the money to go there. So unfortunately, I said, I can't go. I'm sorry. And they understood, no worries. But at the end of the day, I had so much fun, learned so much, and I felt more confident about my ability. And in turn, my buddy and I still kept in contact. He was still kind of helping me, and we still kept up this football passion with one another. We would talk on the weekends. We would actually talk about quarterbacks, offensive lines, defensive lines, cornerbacks, linebackers. We were good. It was great. And we started talking about it. And we were like, you know what? We should do our own podcast. I'm like, yeah, we should. I'd be down with that. Yeah, let's do this. It never transpired, never happened. Didn't mean that we didn't want to do it. It just that life got to us and it just it didn't work out. That didn't mean that I didn't, that that part left. I always wanted to actually still have the podcast. So here I am. And I want to provide my knowledge to you. And in turn, I want you to provide your knowledge to me. Because maybe I know that I don't know everything about football, but I want to learn. I know a lot about football, but there's always room for improvement in anything. So during this process, this is something that I want your help as much as I can provide assistance to you. This is just a two-way street here. This is not just me providing you with the information. This is you also helping me. And that's what I want this to become. It's more of a community, more sharing community. So if there's things that I see that you see in different episodes later on that you're like, I don't agree with that. They could be this, and this is the reason why. Let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do that. I'd be happy to read and respond to your comments because that's the only way that we'll all learn. Now, that's me in football and the podcast. I want to provide you with some information on a personal side where I have a minor case of cerebral palsy. So the synapses in my brain don't fire all that well to the right side of my body. And that goes down from anything from my hands, because my hands I can't really grasp all that much as well as I can with my left, to the walking as well. So, but it has never stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. Playing baseball, getting into martial arts. I loved that as a kid. And nothing stopped me from doing anything. If you want to ask me any questions at all, by all means, let me know. I'd be happy to answer. In any case, that was it. I just wanted to keep this kind of short, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Oh, it's so good.